He produced us from al-Adam. He produced us from non-existence. So before we were created, we were nothing. Just as He, the Most High, said, هَلْ أَتَى عَلَى الْإِنسَانِ حِينٌ مِّنَ الدَّهْرِ لَمْ يَكُنْ شَيْئًا مَذْكُورًا. Surah Al-Insan, the 76th surah, the first ayah. With the explanation, has there not come upon man a time period when he was nothing worthy of mention? And Shaykh Fawzan quotes a second evidence. He said, and He, the one free of all imperfections, said, قَالَ كَذَلِكَ قَالَ رَبُّكَ هُوَ عَلَيَّ هَيِّنٌ وَقَدْ خَلَقْتُكَ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَلَمْ تَكُ شَيْئًا. Surah Maryam, the 19th surah, ayah 9. With the explanation, he said, that is the case. However, your Lord has said, it is easy for me, and I had already created you before, when you were nothing. Shaykh Fawzan said, man, before he was created, was nothing. And the one who brought him into existence and created him is Allah, the Mighty and Majestic. He, the Most High, said, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ أَمْ هُمُ الْخَالِقُونَ. Surah At-Tur, 32nd surah, ayah 35. The explanation, were they brought into existence without any creator? Or are they themselves their own creators? This explanation is tafsir being taken from Ibn Kathir. There's some difference in tafsir about the meaning of the first phrase, أَمْ خُلِقُوا مِنْ غَيْرِ شَيْءٍ. And some of the explainers mention meaning, do they claim that they're created without any fathers and forefathers? Probably not. Ibn Kathir mentions a view. The explanation is, were they brought into existence without any creator? Or are they themselves their own creators? Shaykh Fawzan then said, his saying, وَرَزَقَنَا, and He gave us provision, He gave us rizq. Shaykh Fawzan said, since we need rizq, we need provision, we need food and drink and clothing and habitations, places to live, and transport and requirements. Then He, the Perfect, He knew our needs. So therefore He made subservient for us whatever is in the heavens and the earth. All of it. For our welfare. In order for us to be able to remain alive. And in order for us to use that to help us upon what we were created for. In order to help us upon that for which we were created, on purpose for which we were created, which is ibadatullah, which is the worship of Allah, the Perfect and Most High. Shaykh Fawzan mentions two reasons there for everything being made subservient for us. Those two purposes. Firstly, so that we will be able to remain alive. And secondly, so that we can use those things that we made subservient for us for our purpose, for the purpose which we were created for, which is to worship Allah, the Perfect and Most High. Then he said, his saying, وَلَمْ يَتْرُكْنَا حَمَلًا, and He did not leave us hamalan, without purpose. Shaykh Fawzan explains this word. He said, al-hamal, with a ha. Al-hamal, it means something which is neglected, muhmal, and abandoned, matruk. It means something which is neglected and abandoned, which no one cares about. So Allah created us and gave us provision for a wise purpose, for a hikmah. Allah created us and gave us provision for a wise purpose. He did not create us abathan, in vain, nor sudan, nor without purpose. He, the Most High, said, أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. Surah Al-Mu'minun, the 23rd Surah, Ayah 115, for the explanation. Do you think that you were created uselessly and that you will not be returned to us? And Shaykh Fawzan said, quoting further evidence, and he, the Perfect, said, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى أَلَمْ يَكُنْ نُطْفَةً مِّن مَّنِيٍّ يُمْنَى ثُمَّ كَانَ عَلَقَةً فَخَلَقَ فَسَوَّى. Surah Al-Qiyamah, the 75th Surah, ayahs 36 and 37, or rather ayahs 36 to 38, 3 ayahs. With the explanation, does man think that he will be left without any duties? Was he not previously a drop of semen emitted? Then he became a clot. Then Allah created and fashioned him as a human in due proportion. And as a side point on the first ayah, أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى, does man think, with the explanation, does man think that he will be left suda? And this word suda, At-Tabari reports from Mujahid, the famous tabi'i, famous mufassir and student of Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhu, that Mujahid said about this word suda here in the ayah, la yu'mar wa la yunha. Does he think he'll be left with not being commanded with anything and not being forbidden from anything? Then Shaykh Fawzan, back to the explanation, Shaykh Fawzan quotes another ayah as proof. He said, and he said, وَمَا خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاءَ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا بَاطِلًا ذَلِكَ ظَنُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فَوَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنَ النَّارِ. Surah Sa'd, the 38th Surah, ayah 27, with the explanation, and we did not create the heavens and the earth and whatever is between them without purpose. That is the assumption of those who disbelieve. So woe to those who disbelieve from the fire. Shaykh Fawzan then said, Allah only created us and created these provisions for us and these faculties لِحِكْمَةٍ عَظِيمَةٍ وَغَايَةٍ جَلِيلَةٍ. Allah only created us and created these provisions for us and these faculties for a tremendous wisdom and a tremendous purpose. And it is that we should worship Him, He the Perfect and Most High. And He did not create us like cattle, which were created for the welfare of the servants. Then they will die and pass away, because they are not mukallafa, because they are not duty bound. They don't have any duties put upon them, cattle. They were not commanded and they were not forbidden. So mankind is not like that. We are not created the same as cattle. Shaykh said, rather He created us li'ibadatihi. He created us for His worship. Just as He the Most High said, then he quotes the ayahs with the famous evidence for the purpose of the creation of mankind. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُمْ مِنْ رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ يُطْعِمُونَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينَ. Surah Al-Dhariyat, the 51st Surah, ayahs 56 to 58, with the explanation, And I did not create jinn and mankind except to worship me alone. I do not desire from them any provision, and I do not want that they should feed me. Indeed, Allah, He is the great provider, the possessor of tremendous power, the strong. Shaykh Fawzan said, and He did not create us just for the life of this world, that we should live in it and roam around freely and make merry and eat and drink and make ourselves at home in it, and that there is nothing after it. Rather, life is a mazra'ah, life is a planting ground and a marketplace for the next life, so that we should equip ourselves in it with righteous deeds. Al-a'mal al-salihah. This life, Shaykh mentioned two things that this life is like. This life is a planting ground, somewhere where you plant what's going to grow for you. And like a marketplace where you buy and sell something good or something not, something evil, something bad. So Shaykh said this life is like a planting ground and a marketplace for the next life, so that we should equip ourselves in it with righteous deeds. Then we will die and move on from it. Then we will be resurrected. Then we will be taken account of, and we will be recompensed in accordance with our deeds. This is the purpose behind the creation of the jinn and mankind. And the proof for that is many ayahs which prove the ba'ath, the raising to life after death, and al-nushur, the resurrection, and al-jaza, the recompensing, and al-hisab, the reckoning. And the aql, the intellect, proves this. So Shaykh mentioned two proofs for this. It's proven in many texts, many ayahs, and it's also proven secondly by the intellect. Then he mentions what is this intellectual proof for this. That mankind, that this life leads on to the next life, and that we're rewarded or punished in accordance with what we did in this life. So the Shaykh mentioned many ayahs which prove this. Then he mentioned, and this is also proven by the aql, by the intellect, and he explains that. Because it would not befit the hikmah, it would not befit the wisdom of Allah, the Perfect and Most High, that He should create this amazing creation, and that He should subject this creation to the descendants of Adam, and then just leave them to die and pass away without any result, without any natija, without any result. This would be abath, this would be futile play. So the results of those deeds, Shaykh said, so the results of these deeds must certainly appear in the next abode. In whatever mankind does in this life, from good or bad, it must certainly appear in the next life. And therefore, there can be from the people, Shaykh further explains this same point, and therefore there can be from the people those who spend their whole lives in the worship of Allah and in obedience to Him, and yet this person is in poverty and is needy, and maybe he is one who is oppressed and hard pressed and who suffers difficulty, and he does not attain anything from the reward of his actions in this world. And vice versa, the opposite as well can be the case. That from the people there are those who or there can be a person who is an unbeliever, a kafir, an evil atheist, who roams around as he wishes and makes merry in this life. He enjoys a life of luxury, and he is given whatever he desires. And he commits that which Allah has made forbidden, and he oppresses the servants, he oppresses the people, and he transgresses against them, and he devours their wealth, and he kills people without any right, and he overcomes and he behaves tyrannically, and then he dies upon that condition. He has not been struck by anything from punishment. So Shaykh mentions these two opposite cases that can happen. Find the first person who worships Allah throughout his life, is obedient to Allah throughout his life, and yet is in poverty, need, he doesn't receive anything from the reward for his deeds in this life. And the opposite case, the unbeliever, the rejecter of his Lord, who does that which Allah has forbidden, and to the end of what the Shaykh mentioned about him, and he doesn't suffer any punishment in this life for it. So then the Shaykh says, does it befit the adl, does it befit the justice of Allah the Perfect and Most High, and His hikmah and His wisdom, that He should leave this obedient person without any reward, and that He should leave this unbeliever without any recompense? This does not befit His justice, He the Perfect and Most High. So here Shaykh's mentioning the intellectual proof for this. Then he said, and therefore he has made the next life, the next abode, to recompense this doer of good for the good which he did, and this doer of evil for the evil which he did. So in it, the fruits of deeds will become apparent in the next life. So this world, this dunya, this world is an abode of action. But as for the hereafter, then it is an abode of jaza, of recompense. Either Jannah, either paradise, or nar, or the fire. And He did not leave us hamalan, without purpose, as is thought by the atheists and the duhuriyun, as is the thought of the malahida, the atheists and the duhuriyun, those people who think, as it follows in the ayah which follows, duhuriyun, those who think that death is the end of us. And the Shaykh quotes the ayah about these people. He said, He the Most High said, وَقَالُوا مَا هِيَ إِلَّا حَيَاتُنَا الدُّنْيَا نَمُوتُ وَنَحْيَا وَمَا يُهْلِكُنَا إِلَّا الدَّهْرُ وَمَا لَهُمْ بِذَلِكَ مِنْ عِلْمٍ إِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ. Surah Al-Jathiyah, the 45th Surah, ayah 24. With the explanation, and they say, there is no life except our life in this world. We die and our children live, and nothing brings an end to us except time. And they do not have certain knowledge, rather they just surmise, they just think. Shaykh Fawzan said, this is the saying of the malahida, this is the saying of the atheists, those who do not believe in the return to life and the resurrection. Then Shaykh al-Fawzan mentions a refutation of them. He said, and Allah the Mighty and Majestic rebutted them. So he said, أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. Surah Al-Qalam, 68th Surah, ayahs 35 to 36. With the explanation, shall we make the Muslims like the criminals? Shall we make the Muslims like the criminals? Just the same. What is wrong with you? How do you judge? Again, as a side point here, al-Tabari mentions in his tafsir explaining what is meant here by the al-Muslimun, what's meant by the Muslims, and the mujrimeen, the criminals. Shaykh al-Tabari mentioned, the Muslims, those who submitted in obedience to me and humble themselves to me in worship and submit to my commands and prohibitions. Are they to be treated like the mujrimeen, like the criminals? Again, al-Tabari mentioned as a side point. Those who committed sins, performed acts of disobedience, and contradicted my commands and prohibitions. Then Shaykh Fawzan quotes a second proof, a second ayah. He said, and He the Most High said, أَمْ حَسِبَ الَّذِينَ اجْتَرَحُوا السَّيِّئَاتِ أَنْ نَجْعَلَهُمْ كَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَوَاءً مَحْيَاهُمْ وَمَمَاتُهُمْ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. Surah Al-Jathiyah, same surah, ayah 21. With the explanation, do those who commit evil deeds think that we will treat them just the same as those who truly believe and work righteous deeds? The same in their life and after their deaths? What an evil judgment they make. And then Shaykh Fawzan quotes his further evidence on the same point. The last evidence he quotes on this point, he said, and He the Most High said, أَمْ نَجْعَلُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَالْمُفْسِدِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ أَمْ نَجْعَلُ الْمُتَّقِينَ كَالْفُجَّارِ. Surah Sad, the 38th surah, ayah 28. With the explanation, or shall we make those who truly believe and work righteous deeds like those who cause corruption upon the earth? Or shall we treat those who are dutiful to Allah just like the wicked unbelievers? That's where Shaykh Fawzan then said, this is not possible, and this will never be the case. And those who behave in that way in this life, those who are true believers and work righteous deeds in this life, and the opposite case, those who disbelieve in Allah and commit that which is forbidden, they will never be treated the same.